To go live, and yes, we are
Hey
live.
everybody, it's Dave with DII. Welcome to the DII live show. We do this every Saturday, every other Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. here on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking with Dr. Jen about how she has incorporated the handpan with her chiropractic and sound healing careers. And it'll be really fun. I'm going to introduce her in a few minutes. But until then, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'd be great to have you as a subscriber. And also go to our Facebook page and like us on our Facebook page, which is at Dave's Island Instruments. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter if you want to check out those pages as well. All right, so today we're going to introduce, oh, by the way, before I get to there, don't forget that we also have a new thing called the DII community. And the DII community is a place where you can learn how to play handpan and access different ways of communicating with us and ask questions about how to play the handpan and all that sort of thing. So go to our website, which is davesislandinstruments.com, and log in there, and there should be a drop down that shows you how to get into the DII community. And you can also go to the services tab and find the DII community on the services tab. All right, so with no further ado, I'm going to welcome Dr. Jen.
Here she comes. Boom.
Hi.
There she is. Hi, Dr. Jen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. No, this is going to be great. So I'm going to give like a little brief synopsis of how I met you, and then I'm going to let you take away with your own personal bio. So
Okay.
I first met Dr. Jen, which I knew at the time as Jenny, here at the store at DII. And she started taking one of our preliminary handpan classes, which was taught by Linda Arnold at the time. And this was many years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago now. And so she was one of the very first to take a DII handpan class here at the store. And it was really a pleasure to meet her. And she had her own handpan seat in front of you on screen. And I didn't realize the depth of knowledge she had behind the handpan and her experiences in life. So today it's going to be really exciting for me to kind of get to know her a little bit better and share that with everybody that's watching right now. I think she's got some very interesting, unique insights on how the handpan can be incorporated into all sorts of ways with sound healing and the chiropractic care that she gives. So with that, let me ask you now, Jenny. So tell me a quick synopsis of like your life, how you got started with the things that you're working with now, and how it kind of has funneled into your life now.
Oh, well, I'm a chiropractor for 31 years now, and I studied in California. I came out here to LA and from New York, which is kind of a different world in a great way. That suits me, and so I really was. I'm kind of different in my way of treating. I'm a roll your sleeves up kind of chiropractor, and you know, I don't treat my patients wearing shoes, and kind of very a little bit esoteric in that way. But I realize that people respond to a connection whereby you can really be yourself. And so in throughout my professional career, I've seen that and heard plenty of patients who have, gone the medical route and have not gotten any help. It's been, they're looking for something different. They've been told they were liabilities, and so when they come to me, I try and accommodate that in a very healing, natural way. So that means, in chiropractic terms, very hands-on. And for me, I have scoliosis. And so because I have scoliosis, I understand pain. So when you understand pain and a patient comes to you, there's a better knowledge about how to approach. So I started to realize that and read the at the time the up and coming literature about how sound was very healing. For many things, for PTSD, for migraines, jaw clenching, anxiety, depression. It's good for people who are on leaving this earth, and when they're passing away, and in that process, sound is very healing and soothing. Um, Birthing a baby, so there's a lot of benefit to sound that I felt necessary to incorporate into my practice, because I really wanted my practice not to be the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. You can't treat a patient and get good result unless you're addressing everything in that a human being is all about. So
Yeah.
that's kind of sort of how I got into sound.
That's
But
awesome. So,
but it
well,
really,
let me interrupt
after
really quick with a quick comment. So, on the topic of how sound can help and heal, a friend of mine told me that his father had dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. But when they played music that was back from his era, whatever it was, 50s or 60s or something like that, and he could have more conversations with them. It was a little bit easier to have a conversation, and things were just a little bit more clear. I'm not sure if he was remembering things differently or not, but it was an interesting comment about how that music affected him just on a cognitive level, even though he had dementia and or Alzheimer's, one of those. But anyway, I think that's kind of what you're kind of getting at. Music affects us in a very important way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, I'm also regional director of the You Rock Foundation, which is a music-based nonprofit organization that helps people who suffer from depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, mental health issues. And how we help is we get popular musicians and rock stars to do video testimonials talking about their difficulties, but how music saved their life. It's very encouraging for, fans and just, people who follow and so the whole combination of the music, healing, mental, physical, emotional, it's just, you can't sidestep it as a healing modality.
Yeah.
But as far as your friend's dad, because with dementia they lose their short-term memory but have the long-term memory, so it's good to
Right.
tap back into that to better times, and they can
Yeah,
relate to
absolutely.
that, and that's why they remember all the lyrics of the songs
Right.
you
Yeah,
know
exactly. They remember all the lyrics and that sort of thing. That's right. Yeah, it's amazing.
right,
So,
right.
really quick,
So,
so before we go much farther, I want to find out how did you learn about the handpan? Like, when was the first time you remembered about hearing about the handpan? And then how did you get familiar with it, and kind of basically just that journey of yours with the handpan?
well, I in my research or online or something, I came across a fellow who's a poet in Maui, or was. And he'd write his own poetry, and he would recite his poetry and play this incredible, it looked like a flying saucer, because you hear
Right, the
that a lot
flying
about the
saucer. Yeah,
handpan.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And his was a Hajaz. It had such a magnificent sound and tone to it. You couldn't help but to be fascinated. So, I'd say about 8 years ago, when it was hard to find a handpan, and they were super expensive, and people were holding on to them and not really selling them because they were becoming, more and more popular.
yeah.
And so I just one day, about maybe 5, 6 years ago, I dropped my parents off at the airport, which is right near Dave's Island Instruments. And I thought, you know what? I have some time. Let me see if they're open. And I walked in, and what did I see but this wall of handpans? I
Wow,
was
interesting.
just beside myself, because if you think of enough, guess what? It'll find its way
Right,
into your life, which it
right.
did. So here's this wall of handpans. I was so excited, and then you had come in, and you said, "Yeah, we're going to start lessons." I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready to sign up." So I
Yeah,
was the first person
awesome.
to sign up for lessons,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how I
that's
met
terrific.
Linda Arnold. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a similar story. It's interesting how you hear things, or you see things along the way, and then like a couple years later, something happens, and you're like, all of a sudden you're there. So it's fascinating. Um, All right,
I'll take
so
it.
one quick question. So not question, but like on the topic of handpans, a lot of people that tune in are either beginners or they're novice, or they're always frequently, or they already own one, and they're frequently looking for a different way to use it or how to use it, in just different ways to fill out their repertoire of things to do with the handpan. So I know that you've been using it with your practice, and yesterday during our rehearsal, we were just kind of talking about some of the ways you use it. And I would love to hear a little bit more, and so people can hear how you use the handpan in your practice and how it's been beneficial, not only for yourself, but also for your clients.
Sure. Well, so I ended up really thinking about it, and with playing the handpan and learning how to play the handpan, I thought I've been going to all these sound healings and sound baths and wonderful, tremendous sound healings, and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to somehow incorporate that into my practice? But how? Now, at the
Yeah.
time, I had my office in a yoga Pilates studio, so that really lent itself
Right.
to allow me to do sound baths. So, of course, gongs, I have crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls. I have, the typical display of instruments, but the handpan was kind of sort of instrumental, pardon the pun, in those
Yeah.
healings, because I thought, well, how do I integrate chiropractic with that? So I came up with chiropractic sound therapy. So
Uh-huh.
really, what I do is a sound session that includes chiropractic. So the patient comes in, and I'll stretch them out and adjust them, do some therapeutic massage, and then from there, because the chiropractic will get rid of all the restrictions in the body, allow chi or energy to flow through the chakras, through the nervous system. And so when you then bring sound in, you get a better flow, a better acceptance of the vibrations, frequencies to help alter the brain state.
Yeah.
So from there, after I adjust them, then I bring in the instruments with tuning forks, because you can really change the brain state of a patient. And that's what sound baths do. I mean,
Right.
you come in, you just rush there. You want to make sure you get there in time. So you're in a brain state of a particular frequency, like a beta brain state. And
Yeah.
that's like a nervous, running wild kind of mindset. But then you're going to come and lie down, and you have to relax. So you want to bring the brain state or the frequency of that brain state down from beta to alpha to theta, where the monks meditate, and of course delta is sleeping. So that's
Yeah.
what these tones and frequencies do. They entrain the brain by bringing that frequency, the brain state frequency, down into more of a peaceful, blissful
Right.
frequency. And so
Yeah.
I use the handpan to do that, because it's like very effective in that way.
Yeah. Okay. So I studied that just a little bit. I was making a little collection of songs, and I was trying to match those, like the kind of the rhythms or whatever I would be playing on the handpan to the
Right,
brainwave frequencies. So I had like a song called
right.
Theta, a song called Theta, Delta 1, Delta 2, and REM sleep, right? So if I
Yeah.
recall correctly, please help me out with this because I might be getting it wrong. But alpha was kind of like your normal, just like activity, right? Like you're just going through life or whatever. And then theta is like one of the first stages of sleep where you're kind of still getting rid of some of that
In between,
dissonance or whatever, in between kind of stage.
in
And then I
between.
can't remember
Yeah,
exactly deltas and those things. I know that REM is like when you're in deep sleep and you're totally kind of
right.
tuned out and your eyes are like moving around. Um,
Right,
but yeah,
right.
yeah. But so is there a way? Is that the way a lot of sound baths and that sort of thing work? Because they kind of take you from an active mind to a very you slow your mind down so the waves are slower or whatever,
Yes.
and then it kind of brings you out of it as well.
Yes, the beta, which is the highest frequency, that's like if you're driving or you're in conversation
Oh,
or something
okay,
like that.
okay.
The alpha, the alpha is where it's almost like, you're more of maybe like peaceful, you're reading, you're taking a meditative walk in a garden,
Okay. Okay,
but you're
great. Yeah.
passively aware. But with
Okay.
theta, that's where you're, like you were stating, Dave, in between that awake sleep, which really is such a great place to be when it comes
Right.
to influencing. You can
Uh-huh.
really change your that subconscious mind at that stage. And people complain about meditating, and well, I can't meditate because my mind is, thinking about too many things. Well, with what I do before I start the sound healing, I do a guided meditation to slow the person down, to bring them down just enough to where once I bring sound in, then they can really go deep.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
but
No,
the
that's great. I
effect
love the way you're,
is,
yeah. Yeah. That's
Dave, real
great.
quick, could I give
Yeah.
quick
the
shout
effect
outs?
is great.
Really
Oh,
quick
sure.
I
shout outs to people that are watching right now. We have Carlos Cooper, he's in Long Beach. The
Oh, that's right. Hi,
Nebula,
Carlos.
the Nebula Vibe. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this. Soulflower Tarot. Hello, everybody. Hi, Jen. She must know you.
oh,
Awesome.
And then let's see. There is a question. Oh, Ray Denton from West Texas. We have
oh, hi, Ray.
Florida watching, and we have Shane Sizemore from Oregon. He had a comment. I think it's kind of a comment question, but I'm going to put it on the screen really quick. And it says, I have a D major on its way to being made a D major. I want to play for sick people at the hospital. So maybe talk a
Oh, that's
little bit
great.
Beautiful.
about
Yeah.
playing for sick people.
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful, beautiful thing to do that.
Yeah. Hospitals actually sound pretty good for handpan because the hallways are usually kind of bare and they echo a lot. So the handpan can echo through the halls and through the room. It's usually a pretty good environment for that.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful, and it's very noble to
Yeah.
want to do that. Even like hospice or very, very noble.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, for all the people that are watching right now, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section because Daniel's in the background watching right now, and Daniel can bring them up just like he did. And feel free; it'd be great to hear your input, and if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them as best we could. So feel free to do that at any time. All right, so Jenny, so on the topic of all this brainwave stuff, I love this. This is really great. I'm really enjoying this. So thank you so much. Could you give us like a sample? Because a lot of the beginners out there, sometimes they think they need to play fast. Sometimes they think they
Oh,
need to play a song, or if they don't play a song or if they don't play fast, they're doing it wrong, or something like that. So if you could just kind of give us like a quick sample of like something simple that you might do with in your sound therapy and that sort of thing.
sure. Well, in the sound therapy, like we were saying, when somebody's in theta, you really don't want to do something. You really don't want to do something fast.
Right, right.
It's so effective because of the nature of the instrument and the reverberation. Um, Really, all you need to do is and some
Just
space
let it
in
ring.
between.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that one note, you could ride that one note because it's
yeah,
so resonant,
yeah,
and that's what people really respond beautifully to in a sound bath or in a private, because I'm doing the private sound healings in a private
yeah.
sound healing. I sit down if I want to play fast, not that I can play fast. I'll do that more in practice so I can make
Yeah.
my mistakes.
Right, right,
Because
sure.
yeah, I still consider myself a beginner. I mean, um, I might be able to get a good sound. I have a great pan, thank you, Dave.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
so so I can get a good sound, but I still, what I'm trying to do personally is, and like I said before, I have scoliosis. So sometimes my neurologic system gets switched, which means that you can't call on your non-dominant side as well as you can call on your dominant side. And so by playing the handpan or learning the handpan, I can call on my left side to fire. Not that it's as good, of course, but it's better when you're the more practice. But it's better in response time, in strength, believe it or not. So I that's why I really wanted to not master. If I could master, it would be fabulous. But they're the masters that
Yeah.
are my favorites. We'll talk about them. But for
Right.
me personally, it was because I wanted to train myself to get a better cross.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cross.
I've heard about that too. There was somebody else I met in the past where there's something about crossing your limbs from one side to the other. It trains your brain in a different way. That's a
Yes.
fascinating subject too, and I can't remember
Yeah.
why. I can't remember if it was why. Man, it was a long time ago that this person came into my life years ago, so I can't remember the details. But yeah, that's a. Thank you for bringing that up. So that's really interesting, and it's something you can kind of simply do on the handpan. It's not like a
Sure.
really difficult thing, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And also too, it's like if you broke your leg, you want to use your opposite leg because there's a kind of a cross referenced neurologic. If you train one side, the other one will grow as well. Not to the
Right.
extent, but you'll still
Yeah.
have that integration because that's how
Yeah.
the spinal cord works. There's a lot of
Yeah.
uh, crossing and integration of both sides. So it really is I mean, a beautiful instrument sounding wise in other ways, but it's healing, and it's got its healing ways for people who you say you're doing, sound healing for, or for yourself, because you're
Right.
really learning that and I'm not great. I play tennis, the ball comes to me, I'm like, I have to run after it. You have to hit the note, Jennifer. You have to hit the note. So
I love tennis, by the way. I've been getting into tennis recently with my wife. It's been really, really fun. So that's funny you
how
bring
did
that
I
up.
know that?
But yeah, but on the handpan, even though I
real
built.
quick,
Oh, go ahead.
Dave, we have some
Yeah.
comments and questions, but really quick, Jennifer, your camera auto focused out. Can you put your hand in front of the camera real quick? Just I think
Sure.
it's out of focus or something. There you go, and then let it go. A little bit better. It's not focusing on you right now, so maybe it'll go back. Yeah, it just auto focused out, but it's okay. Here we can see you.
Okay.
It's just a little bit out of focus. All right.
Okay.
Real quick, Amy Bruckner from Pennsylvania is watching. She says
Hi,
thanks for
Amy.
doing this. Lisa Donovich says
Oh, yeah. Hi,
hello,
Lisa.
and
Hello.
she has a question. Let's see. I'm going to start with her comment first. And that says, hello, along with my interest in handpan, I'm learning to use my harp. Wow, that's awesome. To play in
Ooh,
modes for healing. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
nice.
So, and then her question is, boom. How do you use the keys or modes or progressions on the handpan to control where you want to take the person?
Ooh, well, um, I would say when a patient comes in, I first have a conversation with them, and we talk about, general things, but within that conversation, it comes out like what they're feeling. Maybe they had an incident where they weren't able to voice their opinion, or they felt very flighty because something happened. So, according to what I get back from them, I'll think of the chakras, and I'll think of the tunings of the chakras. So, for example, if somebody needs grounding, I would work my instruments to where I would do a lot of grounding type of um, of work. So I'd use like a lot of, C scales and something to really focus on that necessary chakra. So I would ground them and then go to the throat chakra, and that's like an A. So I would, between the C and the A, and I would use certain bowls. I would use certain beats, because I have buffalo drums and stuff like that. But as far as the handpan goes, usually, now this is Dave, we should really tell the story about this handpan, because this
Oh,
is
sure.
a very special. This
Sure.
is a magnatune that Dave created, and I was lucky enough for him to for him to sell one to me. But it has many more scales than just one. So do you want to talk about like how that works, being that you
Sure.
built
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Yeah, no, I was experimenting with that for a while, and it was fun. So on a handpan, a lot of people are always asking for different scales and that sort of thing. So I was trying to figure out how you could manage that. So on Jenny's handpan there, you can see it. It looks like a regular handpan, but on the inside there's some magnets on the notes, and the magnets basically add mass to the note, which slows down the vibration frequency. And so what that does is it basically lowers the pitch, usually by a half step. So on the one that she has there, it has several notes. Not all of them. They don't all have magnets, but just on special certain key notes, they have a couple magnets on the inside, which lowers the pitch. And it's a fascinating way of kind of just adjusting the instrument. And I'm not selling any of those right now. It was kind of like this really cool little experimental wave that I was on. So you're one of the lucky ones that got one. But yeah, it's a fascinating process. So that's what we did on that.
Right. So I'm lucky enough to be able to change um, the scales. And I mean, you guys, when Dave first sold this to me, I have to show you, because this is kind of, I'm a studier. It's a raw scale.
Oh, that's right, the raw scale. Yep.
And I started,
RA, like
and I
the god of
started,
raw.
um, you know, if you put the magnets on the B, the F sharp, and the C sharp, it changes the scale. And I went through each of the scales. This is an A minor, and there's a Hajaz scale, which is fabulous. So like I really got to play with the different scales and different tones, and what do I resonate mostly with on one day. I might change the scale and leave the scale, because I figured out like a little riff kind of thing, and so I'm working and practicing on that, and then I'm like, what would that riff sound like if I changed the scale? It's like just changing handpans, really, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun for me. I really feel like spoiled and blessed at the same
Yeah.
time, because I have
Right,
that
right.
option here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I wanted to go back to
So
that question really quick, because it was a couple things in that question that we had just a second ago that were might be confusing to some people. So the word mode and the word chakra, I think people are familiar with those terms, but they don't always know exactly what they are. So I just want to quickly say on the handpan that's in front of me, it's a D minor handpan, but like if I play a C major here on the left-hand side, that would be a C major. Major is the mode kind of thing. And in each, if I go up to a D, then I have a D minor chord here. And there's specific names for each of these modes, like a Mixolydian or Dorian or Ionian. They're really weird names for these modes. So truthfully, I've been studying music forever, but I still can't remember which one is which. I always have to look it up in a dictionary somewhere. But just essentially, I think the question was which mode, like, is it a major mode that you like to play for a certain aspect, or a D minor, or a mode, that sort of thing. And then for me, on my end, I'm not so good with the chakras either. And I know that I think Daniel was talking about it one time, like I think you just mentioned it too, like C relates to a certain chakra, D maybe relates to a different chakra. So could you explain the chakra aspect really quick and how it relates to the notes and the tones? The way you know
sure.
it. I'm assuming you know.
Yeah. I mean, just a general type of thing. A chakra is like an energy center within the body, and
Okay.
I think we focus on 7 of them, but there's way many more auras and all sorts of things. But how we focus on these 7 chakras, and they're located in different aspects of the body, and they govern different types of emotions and so forth. And so when your energy is stagnant within these or blocked within these chakras, it's hard to have that energy flow and feel at peace in those areas. So to unblock those chakras, you would use certain notes. Now, from what I remember, the Tibetan way of addressing those chakras, they're fifths in between. So
Okay.
really, as far as like an A sharp, or or like a D sharp, I'll just take like let's say the grounding, because grounding everybody needs. And so I'll just really try and focus on those more resonant notes for that
Yeah.
chakra.
Yeah.
So does that explain it
Sure, sure. No,
better?
it's great. Just yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Any information is good because it's funny. It's you hear, especially in the handpan community, it's really fascinating to me. Truthfully, I was thinking about this on the way to this show today, about how the handpan has been so connected with sound healing and certain aspects of spirituality and everything. Whereas, like, I'm not
Yes.
sure I would go to a guitar interview and they would be talking about chakras with a guitar or a ukulele.
Right.
It's funny how all of this has been associated with the handpan. So it's just interesting how it comes up, and I think people are very interested to see opinions and information that's on the subject of these things.
Right. All different types of aspect about, because it really is a fascinating instrument. It's unusual. People are always curious. It sounds magnificent. And what the sounds you can get, like, you guys, I'm not a musician, okay? I'm a chiropractor, but
Yeah,
um, I can find the music within me through an instrument like this, which I'm grateful for, believe me.
yeah,
And to be
yeah,
able to extend that out and help my patients, um, it's very rewarding. It's also kind of unique, which makes it even more fun. But as far as playing goes, like, I'm not a masterful player by any stretch. I just really, when I'm not doing healing, sound healings, and I'm just playing on my own, I'm just, usually following patterns
yeah.
and making mistakes and making mistakes. And, but I've noticed this too. And Dave knows this. I have favorite guys out there who, I mean, they play the handpan
Oh,
so
sure.
masterfully. Like, for
Yeah.
example, one of my favorite guys is Adrian Portia, Portia. Look him up on
That's right.
YouTube. Oh my gosh, he's just a god. And I think it was the very first lesson that I came to and had with Linda Arnold when I was at Dave's Island Instruments. The following day, Adrian did a workshop. Remember that?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think the very first, and I was hooked, because to watch him, it's like watching a maestro play,
Yeah.
or conduct
It's just
an
effortless.
orchestra. It was
Yeah.
really spectacular to see him play, and he's so humble, and he just likes to teach people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
another fella that I really fell in love with, I went to see Anushka Shankar. She's
Mm.
Ravi Shankar, the godfather of world music. It's his
Yeah.
daughter, and she plays magnificently the sitar.
Yeah.
And when I sat like fourth row at Royce Hall at UCLA like several years ago, and when I sat down, I saw there were like 4 handpans set up. And I'm
Oh,
like,
cool.
oh my gosh, who's playing that? Well, it was a guy named Manu Delago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's
And
great. Yeah.
yes, it's great. And I went backstage to meet him afterwards. And actually, we were talking about him coming for treatment because he's hurting. And one of the
Mm.
things he was talking about is, you see, like with Adrian, you'll see Adrian sits on the floor and plays
Yeah.
his handpan. Now, With
Yeah.
a person like me with scoliosis, there's no way. I need to sit on a chair and be comfortable. So I'm not
Yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, I'm uncomfortable and I can't concentrate. So for
Yeah.
me, it's better to sit in a chair with the handpan on a stand. Um, and similarly, Manu had said that to me. He goes, I don't know how people sit down on the floor
Uh-huh.
and play the handpan. He's like, I hate it. I need to sit in a chair. So
Yeah.
so really, it's like whatever makes you comfortable when you're learning, as far as how you're sitting and positioning yourself is super important.
Yeah.
Another thing I found, for me, I play primarily with the pads of my fingers
Uh-huh.
and usually just my index fingers, but a lot of people play with their thumbs.
Yeah.
Uh, I have to tell you, from a chiropractic standpoint, if you learn playing, I mean, you can get good sound with your thumb, but I get better sound with the pad of my index finger. But the more you use your thumbs, the more that you'll risk and increase your chances of growing bony spurs, especially, and here's my handy
Look at
dandy
that.
hand. Yes,
Awesome.
I got this
Yeah.
from Anatomy Lab, so it is real. Many years ago, I acquired it,
Wow.
but it's a left hand. But it's this bit right here. I don't know if everybody could see it right there. You will develop a bony spur there the more you
Mm.
use your thumb. If you really rely on using your thumbs
Yeah.
for playing.
Yeah.
So that, and also one more thing, Dave, because it's important. With
Yeah,
your
sure.
wrists, you know, a lot of us try and play with our wrists extended. And when you extend your wrists, you're really kind of jamming your wrist and stretching the ligaments. Ligaments go from bone to bone, and you're stretching them, causing ligament laxity. It's also uncomfortable, and you'll start to get elbow issues as well
Mm-hmm.
to go like this. So that's why we angulate our handpan where it's a little bit facing, like the front end is facing down a little, so you're not so extreme in your
Yeah.
hand positioning, but a little more level and can play easier on
Yeah.
that note.
Yeah.
So I hope
Yeah.
that's
No, it's interesting.
helpful.
No, it is, and I'm just fortunate to know that I was doing something right during my lessons, because I would frequently tell people to angle it forward like this, because it makes your wrist flatter when you're playing these notes, and when you go to the front notes on the front, your wrist is kind of flat also. So it's a little bit more of a natural
Right.
position to have your arms in and your hands. And like you said, if your wrist is cranked like this and you're playing it like this, it's going to be hard, first of all, to get the sound of the note to be correct and to articulate that note, and then obviously, yeah, then you're cranking your tendons and all that sort of thing and causing problems. So
Yeah.
thank you for recommending that those ideas there. Yeah, and I had never heard of the bone spur thing with the thumbs, but it seems kind of obvious now that I think about it, because that's a very bony area of your thumb, and that's usually what
Very
people are
bony
using
area.
to strike the note.
Do you play with your
So,
thumbs, Dave? Do you play with your thumbs?
well, what I would do most playing with my thumb is playing thumb and finger at the same time, so I can get two notes at the same time. It's
But isn't
not
it
quite
more
a
pad?
direct, yeah, exactly. It's not quite a direct hit on the side of my thumb. It's a little bit on the pad there. So that, I think it's probably better than straight on the edge of your thumb. But
Yeah.
occasionally, like I think for sound effects, like when you're playing handpan, you might want to just throw in a little riff like that with your thumbs, because it has like a slightly different sound. I know that some people do that. But anyway, yeah, I think you're right, though. If you're sitting there playing thumbs only constantly for years, you
Yes.
might have some problems. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Also, too, what's interesting is, I mean, and I'm guilty of this. I'll try and I don't practice every day, I have to tell you. But when I do get into those, okay, I should go out in my back music room and practice. I could look at the clock and then I'll only take about a half hour. And before you know it, Well, like it's midnight and I'm exhausted and I'm getting frustrated because I can't, how come I can't get this? How come I can't get this riff? Sometimes it's good to like give yourself smaller increments of focus time.
Yeah.
And when you're getting frustrated, pull yourself away, go hydrate, maybe have a
Yeah.
little bit of a, like not a sugary snack, or take a walk or something. Because when you come back, so much more refreshed, your blood sugar is more balanced, you have like, a clearer head. And then, then you're going like, oh my God, I got this now. How come I couldn't get it before? But
Right. Right.
those little
Yeah.
breaks, maybe 20 minutes at a, if I'm not in a lesson, say, or just for practicing, it's better.
Oh yeah. It's
So I
really
Really
hope that
quick,
fascinating.
helps.
if I
Taking
can,
breaks. Yeah.
if I can interrupt really quick, you guys.
Sure.
I have a question actually. It is from Polly and Barb in Montana. And Dave, if
Polly
you
and
didn't know,
Barb.
yes,
How are you guys?
they just got their new
Thanks for checking
Jaws
in, yeah.
handpan, and
Very cool.
he just texted me. He just got back from Yellowstone. Woohoo!
Uh-huh.
And got back to the handpan. He said, "Oh my God, it's amazing!" But hi, here's the question. Hi, DII team. Can Jennifer show us the type of music she plays, if only just a short version?
Yeah, yeah, just like a little sample. You did it earlier, but just like you could just show us a little something also that you've done, or you would like pretend like I'm your client right now. I'm a virtual
Okay,
client.
Virtual
Yeah.
client. There it
close
is.
your eyes,
Yeah.
everybody close your eyes now.
Yeah.
But it's this simple. It's this simple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And
No.
already I
It's
can
it,
feel our energies have.
Right. Absolutely. No, it's really fascinating. It goes, it's counterintuitive because you think that you need to play something extra special or something, whatever it is. But it really, when you just play a single note and let it ring and die out and let there's some space, your brain, it just changes. And if you do it enough over a period of time, you really do find yourself mellowing out. And the thing I've noticed too is when somebody does that, like frequently when we hear the use, if we say, can you play some music for me, right? Usually your brain is expecting some kind of structured music, and so it becomes active thinking that there's going to be some structure to it, right? So I'm just assuming like
Right.
when you just allow notes to ring, your brain over a period of time after it, like a single note is hit, your brain realizes, oh, I'm not looking for structure anymore. I'm looking for just relaxation, and right? Is that what's kind of going on, do you think?
Sure. It's like I was saying before, that people aren't lying there thinking, oh, okay, what is she playing next? It's almost like a convergence of sound,
Mm-hmm.
and how it comes in and out is like you're just riding a wave. You're not
Yeah.
steering a ship, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's good. That's a good analogy.
and it's amazing because I've had I was saying before, I've had people who've in a sound healing have had visitations, like
Mm-hmm.
from people passed on.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to places like, and I had one person say that when I was playing, she got very angry and didn't really even know how angry she was. It was almost like a self-discovery type of thing. And then of
Yeah.
course you get your people like who have psychedelic type of experiences, or just
Mm-hmm.
complete blissful moments. So it really
Yeah.
depends on the person. I try and get from them in our conversations when they first come in, which way to go, like I might use more drumming with some people than others, but I always bring the handpan in, and it's always toward the end of the healing, when it's really kind of like, I guess,
Uh-huh.
like rounding them out,
Yeah, you know, I've heard that
rounding
same
them
thing.
out.
I heard somebody else. Yeah, I heard somebody else tell me that they use the handpan at the end. It might have been Linda. I'm not sure. Linda Arnold.
Maybe
Um, yeah,
maybe that's where I
but that's
learned it
interesting.
from, because I learned a
Yeah, maybe.
tremendous amount from Linda. Tremendous
Uh-huh.
amount.
Polly and
Yeah,
Barb
she's
say
great.
thank you. That was very
Oh,
relaxing and therapeutic.
you're welcome.
Good, thanks.
Very, very cool. Yeah,
That's
this is
great.
great. I'm really enjoying these subjects. Um, let's see what else. Is there
Well,
anything else on our? I'm kind of talking about Linda. I remember you said you wanted to talk about Linda a little
I
bit in
do.
the class that she provided. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Linda Arnold is, I mean, I would think that Linda is probably in Southern California, at least, one of the most renowned sound healers out there. And I was lucky and blessed enough to have lessons through Dave's Island Instruments with Linda. And she's a music teacher, and she's got a beautiful voice, plays flute, piano, and all these fabulous
All sorts of
instruments.
stuff. Yeah.
Um, and so you know, if you're taking lessons, it's great to learn from people like Dave, from people like Linda, because of their background, because of their experience, and specifically with the handpan. A lot of people just want to say, oh, I'm a music teacher, and yeah, I kind of can play the handpan, and then they want to teach the handpan, but there's something way more valuable that you can get from people like Linda and Dave. And where Linda and I, along with her team, where for the U Rock Foundation, we're planning and hoping that it happens, a grand sound healing at Hollywood Forever Cemetery sometime in the summer. And
Oh, interesting.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, can you imagine, like,
Yeah. No, I love
full
it.
moon and cemetery, and yeah, and there's this
Yeah.
magnificent sound all over, beautiful stuff. But that's what Linda's made of. And I love her very much. She's a good and dear
Oh,
friend.
yeah. Linda's great. I was super tickled that she even engaged and took that on. It was a great project, and we really made some great connections when she was here. It was really
Yeah,
great. So I was super happy to have her.
absolutely.
So, all right.
Yes,
So
yes.
you are part of the U Rock Foundation. You also have your chiropractic, and you also do sound healing and sound baths and that sort of thing. It's been really, really wonderful talking with you. I don't know if anybody else has any final questions for us today. But you know, by the way,
Thank
you
you
can
so much.
find Dr. Jen at what was it at the Sound Bath at the Sound Bath Garden on Instagram, I believe.
Yes.
They're
At
on the
the,
screen.
On screen
yeah,
there, right
at the
below her
Sound
image.
Bath
Yeah.
Garden, Instagram, Facebook. And if anybody has any questions about, the combination of chiropractic and sound healing, or anything for that matter about U Rock Foundation, you can definitely email me at the at treesofhealth@yahoo.com. I'm located in
Wonderful.
Southern California, if that helps. So
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Awesome, Dr. Jen. Thank you so much for
thank
being with
you.
us today. Hey, do you want
Oh,
to
thank
play
you
some?
so much. This was so much fun.
Oh, good, good, good. Do you want to play on the way out as we're just like fading out? Do you want to just play some very relaxing tones with me? We could try playing
Sure.
together. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Awesome. Oh, you start.
Okay. We need these.
Very nice. Awesome.
And on
Thank you,
that
Dr.
note,
Jen.
thank you
Yeah,
very much,
that was
Dave.
great.
Thank you,
Thank
Daniel,
you.
and thanks for tuning in, you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
All right, and everybody enjoy, and namaste. Thank you for joining.